Welcome to the Punditviews for the night. And you know something? This is not the pundit's pundit, but it's the pundit views. It is like a one-on-one conversation, which you already know I like conversation from my show on Wednesdays. But tonight's has been a little bit different. It's the fact that every once in a while I get to bring on some friends of mine, people that I know, because they always have an interesting story to tell. This one is a real interesting story, and you're going to enjoy him tonight. He's a hip hop producer and an artist. It's King Femi. Come on over here, my man.
How's it going?
How's it going, my man? How's it going?
Going great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good. Awesome. So I wanted to just bring this part up. Bring us a little bit of how you got to where are you from originally, and how did you get to the United States?
I'm originally from Bermuda, the beautiful island, probably the most beautiful place on earth. And I got to the States by way of playing football at boarding school. And
you talking about soccer or football?
I'm talking about American football.
Oh, okay.
And that lasted for about 2 weeks, to be honest. By the time 2-week camp was finished, I was just at boarding school. So I found a new hobby, which was rapping. But I got to the States through Vermont, the state of Vermont, and boarding school.
That must be a good drink. Is that one of your Bermudan drinks?
Basically, we'll call it that for the night. One of my Bermuda drinks.
Yeah. No. So you got through for football. What did you play? What position?
I was running back. They tried to put me at wide receiver first, and then I realized how fast I was, and then they was kind of like, well, we don't really need a wide receiver. We just give him the ball. Like, you know what I mean? The thing was, I used to play rugby, and rugby was like so much more fast-paced than football, because football stops and rugby doesn't. So like the thing was, it was just throwing me off. It just kind of started, but it was like my introduction to the entertaining side of it, because it wasn't all about hitting each other. It's about playing a sport, like, you know what I mean? And that kind of taught me some lessons. I kind of wish I would have kept playing.
So tell me this: you did rugby and you did football. Now the thing about this is, if you've got, like, say 45 minutes, say, or whatever, that much time, and you're just continuously running, is there a technique to be able to keep your breath, to be able to keep yourself from wearing out, or are you just pretty much used to it?
There is. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth.
But no, so I'm just saying, I was just saying by itself, so you're talking about that you're talking about people are usually holding their breath while they're moving, so they run out quick.
Well, if you hold your breath when you get hit, you're going to be out of breath for the rest of the game. But I think a lot of people do have the wrong techniques, and But actually, what I'm talking about is the fact that, like, the game stops. Like, every time somebody hits the ground, the ball hits the ground, they blow the whistle. That's football. In rugby, the ball could hit the ground, and whoever gets it first, and that's gets the advantage. And then they might get hit trying to pick the ball up. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like that's a very physical. That's actually a pretty violent sport. I see why we don't play it that much. Like, we're civilized people. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But that was the big thing, is that's the one big thing to learn, because I always wonder, because I remember I didn't do a mile at all until I played tennis in high school for 1 year. I didn't do a mile at all. And then you start wondering just for that second, how do these people get without getting tired? Then you realize you're probably sucking your own wind out by holding your own breath, or just like however much. Am I right?
That is actually very true. I mean, breath control is everything when it comes to sports. You got to really, like, anything physical. Holding your breath is like you're being your own worst enemy at that point, because, like, honestly, it's like your body, your physical, even your brain, like, everything operates off the oxygen flowing through your body. Like, you know what I mean? And that sounds like common sense, but when you get tense and you're in the actual physical situation, like, it's easier to lock up and not breathe and whatnot. But, like, the thing is, the more you breathe, for example, that 1 second that you didn't, like, that moment where you went, and you're holding your breath, like, you know what I'm saying? That's 1 second less of air that you could have used to have that much more of an advantage when it came to that physical contact. I back up from the last hit you took, or hitting somebody that much harder. Like, you know what I mean?
Or especially taking it in the ribs or something.
taking in the ribs always sucks. So I mean, the best way to
Yeah.
do that is to breathe as well. I agree.
Oh, no question. So you got to football. How long did you play football?
I mean, we used to play like flag football and stuff back in Bermuda. You know what I'm saying? But like out here, I probably played for about a semester, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to make it sound like I was some football hero. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of was, but as soon as I got the title of a football hero, I was like, you know what? I want to go do something else because I'm just playing. But like, probably for like a month, honestly, like a month and a half, maybe. But
You wanted to play. You wanted to do music.
I found music. I found music by way of lifestyle. See, the thing about football is you have to go to the football field. You have to consciously practice. Music was like one of those things. We were like in our dorms. We had computer mics just because, you know, we were kids with computers, whatever. And say, hey, you can download a beat. We got this free program, Audacity. You know, let's just, you know, and then it's just something you do on the fly between class and like dinner at the cafeteria. You don't have to like set up shop to do it. Like, you know what I mean? So we just kind of just stumbled across. I had always been kind of rapping to myself, like, you know what I mean? Or just to my friends, you know, like at the lunch tables or whatever with friends or whatnot. But I think really, we started recording ourselves like with this group called the Academy Boys. And that was a guy from Spain, a guy from New Orleans, me, a guy from Bermuda, and a guy from Chicago.
Oh.
And the guy from, where is Nick from? Nick, I can't remember where you're from. I'm sorry, but and Nick. But,
absolutely. And when you were rapping, you said that you just started rapping. Were you like rapping other lyrics? Were you just making your own stuff as you came along? Was it coming into your head, or how'd you do it?
It was like when I was mad, I would make songs. I remember my first songs to this day. I was 10 years old. I would tell you, actually, I might tell you because Jake, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but Jake's the inspiration to me having purple hair. My hair is not purple right now, but everything else is, right? He was like, hey, man, colors are about to be in. And I was like, you know what? I took that advice and ran with it. I don't know if I can curse in there, but I dyed my hair purple. And I ran all the way
I'm happy to help you, man. I'm happy to help because we've known each other for about 3 years now, and I've always enjoyed it. 4 years.
Yes, sir. And I think my first song was like, I was mad at something. I was like ironing my clothes, and I was like 10 years old. I was like, I'm crazy, insane. Like I just started making some like crazy song in my head. I swear to God, bro. I was like 10 or 11. But like after that, I actually started putting structured, arrangements together, and But I've been playing music my whole life. I think music was my first love. I've been playing the piano since I was like 3, reading music. I used to play classical music on the violin from like ages 8 to 16. Like, you know what I mean? Like sports and all the other stuff was like other stuff that I did. But the thing about it is it takes so much out of you, and I'm asthmatic. So it's like,
okay, yeah.
You get it? Music is just kind of just fell on the bass side because I could do that without losing all the oxygen in my body,
And no, and when it comes to, and the thing is, now remember, you've known me for a bit. I'm not a hip hop guy. So when it comes to hip hop, how does one get motivated? Because there's people that like to sing. Mm-hmm. There's people that have that do lyrics. They have the idea. They kind of get the tune. Would you say, okay, in your own head, would you say it's kind of like poetry for yourself? It's like that you're able to be able, spoken word.
Yeah, honestly, I would say it's exactly like poetry. I actually started, I don't know about everybody else, but there's 2 key elements, There's 2 key elements that I used to use when it came to like my introduction to rap. I used to actually write poetry when I was like a kid. Like, when we started learning about poems in school, I would like take that information and then do it on this like outside of school. I'd write my own poems, like haikus and everything else. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. And then I played the drums, and I also read a lot. So it actually is 3 things: reading a lot, poetry, and playing the drums. Kind of gave me what I needed as like basic fundamentals to rap. But rapping in and of itself has some poetic elements. I think it's evolved poetry. Like, you know what I mean? It's evolved poetry with music behind it. You know what I mean? It's kind of.
Sorry.
It's kind of, well, say it's just poetry is like kind of simplifying it over a little too much. Like, you know what I mean? But it has roots in, like, its roots are in poetry. Put it that way.
What
Like,
would you read?
I would read. I read the second Harry Potter book in like a day, like one day. I mean, honestly, it was those type of books, like fantastical, like fantasy type of books, textbooks from school. I went to private school, so I had to read a bunch of books anyway, right? I mean, unfortunately, that's the truth. I'm not here to lie to you fans. I mean, but I also read, once I was old, I read books like 48 Laws of Power, The Art of War.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. Was it The Four Agreements? Some personal books that pertain to personal aspects of my life. But when I was a kid, it was more like, you know, like Harry Potter and stuff like that. Unfortunate. What is it? A series of unfortunate events. That was a good one.
So you're a reader.
I was a reader. My mom used to be a reader, honestly, and I just got it from her.
So that tells me why you're so darn smart.
Well, that's teachers, Jake. I think that's an opinion that you share alone, but I appreciate it.
No, for one thing, if you can have the memory to be able to do that, like we say, the spoken word poetry, to be able to put it into a tune, you've got a brain.
Well, yeah. It actually does take a lot, especially if you have a big catalog. Then when you see us go perform for hours on end, and for, like, you know what I mean, that takes a lot of work to actually memorize all of those songs. Because you gotta think the average song's for 3 minutes, and it's not like guys have teleprompters going across us, you know, like in the audience somewhere. It's just off of your memory. You have to remember an hour and a half worth of the songs you wrote a year ago, yesterday perhaps, you know what I mean, and make it actually work. That actually is difficult. I mean, it sounds easy, but if everybody could do it, then they would, you know.
Okay, now bringing this part is, you look at the music of, let's just say, today, you know, and maybe compared to what you might have liked in the past or whatever. Is there any? Do you like the music now or the past, and what would you change if you did like the past?
The past, but like not that far in the past. Not like Africa Bambaataa past, but like maybe like when Young Jeezy was out past, like, you know what I mean, like right after Jay-Z's era, because it was like raw music that was impactful, but at the same time was thought out. Like, you know what I mean? I think it wasn't like, it was like watching a movie. Like, you know what I mean? I like to try to keep that element alive, so I have to also consider that I am an artist that's out right now. Like, you know what I mean? So in that sense, then yes, right now. But I think it's more artists out right now that are just getting on the mic and just either telling too raw of a truth to where it's just them talking about how they went to the mailbox, like, you know what I mean, and or, you know what I mean, shot somebody or didn't. Like, it's just either crazy, boring, or just too much. Like, you know what I mean, or it's just not cinematical enough. Like, I want to be entertained and I listen to the song. And I think it's that element is gone. I think it's just like who can just say the most ratchet stuff on camera, on the mic, and it's just tasteless. Like, you know, a lot of tasteless, tacky stuff going on right now. I think these guys are out here desperate for attention. I think honestly that if it was up to me, I'll put them all on timeout, make them run 15 laps a piece, come back, get a drink, and then run another 100 laps, and then we can start rapping. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You want a story to tell. You don't want just to be what you call it, ratchet.
Yes, literally. I was just like the song I was working on today. I was asking my fiance, hey, is this cohesive enough of a story? Like, it's literally a story. I made it up, right? It's a made up story, first of all, but it's a story. It's a this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and then there's a middle, then there's a climax, then there's an end, and then the hook comes back. And then I'm telling another story that's cohesive with the first story. You're hearing the sequel and the second verse. Like, it's not just a bunch of random.
Yeah.
gibber. It's not much about no jibber jabber. Like it's an actual. If you're gonna be entertained when you listen to my music, and it's thought out though, but it's thought out with real people that I'm talking about are my real friends from when I was a teenager. I'm telling a made up story that's way overblown and exaggerated with real people in it. You get it? Like it's real, but it's fake. Like you get it? They're just doing a bunch of either fake stuff or stuff that's too real. I don't want to know where the bodies are buried, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want to know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But this one's gonna be great. You're gonna love this one. I
Definitely.
think there's but honestly, yeah, the music today, it's like 50-50 because I don't want to discredit the people that like myself have taken the time to grow. You got a lot of people, hip hop's age is 50 years old. You got a lot of people that are older now that are just starting their careers as opposed to just teenagers starting. I own all my music, I own all the publishing, and I own everything, blah, 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 right? But back in the day, that wasn't even a possibility. But trade was, it took me longer to get my P's and Q's together, being that I'm the one doing it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have the advantage of the label. So there's a thing that, you know, includes my bumps and bruises in that. But as a hip hop artist, I can get away with that. I mean, you know what I mean? Who cares? That's what I'm supposed to have. I'm supposed to have bumps and bruises. Like, you know what I mean? But these guys is out here just saying anything. They got, I'm saying, that is money, just trying to splurge something. They don't know how to manage it. They don't know what I'll walk up on there, give me everything for a picture. Like, they don't know what's going on out here, Jake.
I will give you that story another time about this, but you talked about how it's a story. And I will give you this. It's like, I'm not talking about hip hop, but I'm talking about, I was listening to this one wrestling podcast, and they talked about The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You heard of that song before?
I have not, but
no, it's basically The Devil Went Down to Georgia looking for a soul to steal, blah, 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 blah. And it's basically,
I've heard the song, yes.
Yeah, it's a fiddle contest. And it's basically on the basis of babyface or good guy versus heel bad guy in wrestling. It's like they've got themselves a contest, they've got a reason, they've got this, you know, and it's like, oh, by the way, the bad guy's got the advantage, but then the good guy comes back. You know, it's basically a pro wrestling deal. And it's like, and that's basically what good music really is. It's a story.
Yes. I mean, there's got to be some type of cream that's going to rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no other solution. But without the other stuff, there is no top of anything. The cream has to rise to the top of something. You get it? As a matter of fact, I'm actually glad that everybody and their mom's trying to rap right now, because it gives me the capability to stretch my wings and it actually forces me to act. Because for a long time, I was like the number one rapper in Bermuda, especially Somerset, for a long time, just coasting. Like, now I have to go to the studio. I got the same producer as the City Girls. I have to put in that extra work because the competition's high. So that being said, it pushes me, the real artist, classically trained. I'm the real musician here. It makes me make better music. So like the true fans get an actual better musical experience because I have to do that. Because the fans started making music themselves, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, I can't you can't just let them get away with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna show them what the difference is. So that's the upside of it. The downside of it is I got so much more clutter that I have to cut through to actually push. Like, I gotta push my way past all these other guys. I gotta knock guys on the face, step all over their heads. You know what I mean? Take their chains, put their chains around my neck, take the mic out their hands, and be like, yo, like that. It makes it like that. I didn't want to have to do that, my brother. Like, I wanted to just rap.
Exactly.
It is what it is. I play football too, damn it. Like,
hey, Denzel, come in here a second. We got to get you Denzel here real quick, because hopefully he'll come in. Because hopefully he's hearing. But until that point, it's like, well, I guess he's a little busy on this second, but he'll be in by the time we're done. He'll be gone, but he'll be back. But the biggest thing I look at by itself is, see, and mind you, you're talking to somebody who's not like I said, the hip hop guy I see it. Music growing up, I said this to you when we saw each other last. I said, music to me was that noise you heard at halftime of ball games. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but so what is I mean, so overall by itself, do you like producing the music better, or do you like making it, or do you like being on stage?
I definitely like being on stage better. My dad was like, he used to do shows, make movies. I'm an onstage person, but I've also I got to have the stage performance right, which is how I ended up producing so much. But I like being on stage because, you know, it is about that, like, who's gonna make it to the stage. Like, that element of it is real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, I can sit back and produce, but I can sit back and produce and then get on stage and they ain't gonna know the difference. Like, you know what I mean? My thing is, I am that guy, Jake. So to sit back and not get on stage is doing myself a disservice, because I have definitely, like, shed blood, sweat, and tears for this. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where, like, people have literally died. One of my the co-founders of the company died. I mean, like, it's all type of stuff that's happened. Like, you know what I mean? Bullets flying. Like, it's like, I'm not gonna stop just to sit back and produce, man. I have the reasons and capabilities and resources to just go be on stage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very beginning. This is the beginning of something great. You get what I'm saying? Like, 10 years from now, I'm gonna look older. I'm gonna be much more experienced, and it's gonna be like, dang. I remember that interview when he was asking me which one I'd rather. It ain't even a question. Like, it's not gonna even be a question 10 years from now, my brother. I promise. Like, yes, I produce, but you're also gonna know who I am. Like, you get it? Like, I have ran people over for this shit. I mean, I don't want to keep counting all your podcast rules. The rules are.
No. Totally understand. But by the way, just the big thing. It's like, no, the big thing I have to say with this, though, and I will say, this one of the big things, I've been an actor. You've known about this. One of the things is I've got 36 credits, and I don't know what, the reason I asked you is because I don't know what I like acting or like helping produce, because the last movie I was in, it was the craziest thing. Loved, I mean, as I said, it was an unfortunate ending, but I helped get four scenes done in one night because I had to get the whole thing going. And okay, it's like, it's something about that.
Imagine you getting 4 scenes done, right? And then on the 4th scene, somebody rolls up, another actor from another movie rolls up, talking about, oh, we shutting the set down, pulling up with guns, talking about, that's what being on rap is like. So it's like, I'm trying to rap. Like, I'm not like, it's not like this. It's a song about crazy shit with people. Sorry, it's a song about guys with guns pulling up doing crazy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but while the song about guys with guns pulling up is happening, guys with guns actually pull up, and you got to, you know what I'm saying? They trying to kill you because you making a song about them. Like, acting I think is a different world where it's like, acting, you can just act, and then the most drama it'll be is a civil lawsuit because you parked in someone's parking spot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With rap, like, people will actually show up at your studio with guns and actually try to harm you. Like, you get what I'm saying? And it's like, when you go to another world, you go do a movie or something after that, right? Or you go whatever. People that don't understand that look at you like you're crazy because you've evolved from that. And then people that are still there are still trying to, like, harm you in whatever way possible. But the thing is, you have to balance it all out because you don't want to scare the potential business opportunities away. But at the same time, like, these guys is really trying to kill you. So it's like, what you want me? Do you want to say? But it is. I'd rather come back next year and try to do business with you again than to die today because I let these guys kill me because I'm trying to impress. And that's how rap is like. It's like, I gotta be professional, but I also gotta be on my P's and Q's too.
I'd say the greatest lesson I got, and like I said, I'm never going to say I'm a hip hop aficionado or rap aficionado. I'd say the greatest, what was the game? The greatest lesson I got about rap came from a time I met Benzino. and his son. I just give this story quite a bit. Benzino's son is Ray Sean, but it was Chavo. Name's Chavo, and his hip hop name. And I took him around a little bit because I was I was an Uber driver, and he was one of my rides that I did for a while. You know what I'm saying? Nicest kid you'll meet. I mean, and I'll tell you this, he was good to me. But I also met Benzino a couple, 3 times, especially when they had a restaurant. They had a crab shack. You know what I mean? So it's like Benzino's Crab Shack. So it's like used to be, and I learned quite a bit from them about that thing. That's like when you see it, if you're not from that world, you don't know how human or not that they are, but you learn just how human they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You learn from that world just how human everything is, because a lot of it by itself is show, but a lot of it's what they've lived.
That's real.
Yeah. And it's like, and I miss Chava. I'll admit that. I miss Chava and I miss Benzino. It's like I only saw Benzino like 2-3 times, but maybe 4. But it's like they really gave, it was a good dang lesson. It was a really good lesson in finding out about, what hip hop's about. It's because if you're not from that world, you're wondering how phony it is. You really do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Sometimes it's phony, and sometimes it's phony on the other perspective. I was talking about this yesterday. Sometimes it's phony in the sense that it's sugar-coated. You get what I'm saying? Like, they make it look nicer than it is. And that's why everybody wants to be. If you knew what you had to do to actually be a rapper, you wouldn't just jump into it. Like, if you knew X amount of construction workers fell off of skyscrapers and died, you wouldn't just be jumping in the line to be build skyscrapers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my thing is Benzino really who he says he is? Like, you know who his daughter is, right?
Right.
Right. And then I heard there was some conflict with him and his daughter, and her songs are selling, but is that they make it sound like it's because of him, but it might be on the contrary. It sounds like he wasn't in her life. He might have been in his son's life more than her life, but then his son's career isn't doing as well as his daughter's career, but he was in his son's life. So it's like the fun stuff, but then here's the other thing. Is she happy? Like, there's so much fun stuff in hip hop. Her brother might be, better off than she is with this whole skyrocketing Coily Ray stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Benzino's been through a lot. Like, he's definitely he got shot by his nephew at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I never met him myself though, so I mean, you can tell me better than I can if he's funny or not. But
no. I was just talking about you learn from the world, and he definitely is not. You learn from the world just from itself because he's been through a lot. You're correct. I've only know of Benzino. I know about because I helped with Chavo, and then I've known about his little son. He has a little son also. I know about his daughter. I've never met her.
Okay. Yeah, I've never met her either. She looks like somebody I know. I don't know. But I never met her either.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, it's hip hop is one of those things where people are allowed to kind of elaborate. I'll say that. So somebody is not telling the whole truth of that situation. It's probably, he has a track record. She's just getting on the scene. She could be embellishing for the sake of popularity. I'm just saying that.
Everyone's got a track record. Everyone's got a story. Everyone has a track record by itself. But think of it in this boat. I always say this. You get to people in prisons, they still got kids and they still got a mom. Right. Don't be the guy that gets into a prison killing his mom or his kids.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I seen guys in jail. I was in jail. I seen guys under their bunks, under the top bunk, have pictures of like their kids. And I'm sitting there looking at this man, and he's not, it's not even like he's focused on anybody else. He's just looking, he'll post a picture up on the top of the bottom bunk, if that makes sense. And on the bottom of the top bunk, sorry. And he'll be looking at him, and it's like, bro, like your kids are, outside somewhere, and it's like, and he's stuck in there, and it's one of those things where everybody has a soul, and we can't neglect the soul uh, that makes people human. I mean,
Well,
rappers.
like I was saying myself, it's like, and yeah, you're right. They have a soul because to tell one of those prisoners that they killed their mom, or they killed that one, got in jail for killing their mom or their kids. They're a dead man. They're dead man walking. And am I right though? That's what I'm saying. It's like because they have kids themselves. I'm saying they have kids themselves. But see, they have kids themselves, and it's like you don't want to be that person in itself. But that's what I think about. That's what you learn a lot in it. I'll tell you this: you learn a lot in the city, because I was a small town guy. Just with basically, I would say for myself, just kind of sheltered in my own mind, because in a small town you're sheltered. Right. Getting into the big city, you meet more people, you may understanding, and then become an Uber driver. I had 60 different countries in my car, 60 different ones, and you meet everybody from the absolute socialists from different countries. You meet the absolute rich CEOs. You meet guys that just gotten out of prison. You meet the world, and then that's how you grow up.
Well, the thing is, like, I had that. Like, okay, my experience with that was like boarding school. And I used to meet people like I met the Benzinos of the world in boarding school. You know what I mean? Like, I had, for example, like the general of the Saudi Arabian army, Louis Goodman's son, Semi. Semi was like my homie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we used to like mess with the same chicks. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. But like, I mean, like, we were like, sure to God, like, that was, he used to come to school and like be cool. Like, I was cool with the CEO of Coca-Cola's daughter, like, but also I was cool with people who were like, whose parents were like mayors of foreign cities, like the mayor of Toronto, and you know what I mean? It was just, I mean,
Rob
I did say
Ford. You talk about Rob Ford?
I don't know. I can probably. The way he acted, yes. Like, I mean, I think it was just an overexposure to the cultures that were different from mine. And mind you, I'm not no lightweight. Like, you know what I mean? I got a lot of pull where I come from. If I wanted, you know what I mean? So the alternative to just being narrow-minded is to embrace the fact that there are other cultures. Like, you know what I mean? But what I will say is the hip-hop culture and those who have made it what it is have done a good job for themselves. I don't necessarily come from a hip-hop culture. I come from more of a reggae culture. I come from more of like a business, conservative, Christian culture, perhaps. Mm-hmm. But me as an individual, I'm a rapper, like, you know what I mean? But I've met a bunch of people that aren't from my culture on my journey, and it's been a ride. It's been a doozy of a ride. I can tell you that. Like, you know what I mean? Like the hip hop world is just different. Like, it's like almost no rules, but there's rules. Like, you can't go too far, but if you don't go far enough, you ain't made no traction. And it's like, you want to make traction in this industry because that's the point. Like, you get it? And it's one of those things where you just gotta know. I think it's one of those things where you just gotta know when to stop, because otherwise you can end up you can't end up falling for your own lies. Like, you know, you can't end up trying to live up to some character that ain't real and then end up in jail. Like, you know what I mean? Doing stuff you shouldn't have done. Like, you know what I mean? It's possible.
Let's hold on 1 second. Are you here, Denzel? Come on in for a second. Hopefully he's here this time, because because he really knows his stuff. Oh, is he? He must be falling asleep.
Hold on real quick. I'm about to go refill my drink.
Oh, no, either way. But yeah, absolutely. But you know something? This is the world this is the world we've had. And it's like, and I can say this. It's like the one thing I've learned from it is, and I hope Denzel's hearing this, is that by itself, it's like how much you learn from this industry, how much you learn from music. And as someone who's not, I have to listen to someone like Denzel. You know what I'm saying? I have to listen to him, because there are things he knows from like 2000 to 2006, 2007, 2010. some of the artists, some of the lyrics. He knows all that kind of stuff. So you learn from that. And I was gonna say this. Are you there, bud?
I'm here. Where's Denzel at?
Now I'm gonna say this. Some of your lyrics. Now, describe some of your first music and what your lyrics would be.
Whoa, I almost forgot. Before we do that, I got an album out right now called Noble. It's been out since May 26, 2023, and it's streaming everywhere.
Oh, good.
But some of my lyrics, they just put me on the spot. I got lyrics, bro. I got lyrics. Let me hit you with something. Okay, I got a new song that ain't out yet, right? I haven't even recorded at the studio yet. The lyrics are, I seen it in the wee hours. Blanket, that's a free shower.
So you get, do this come to your head?
It does.
Do you write everything? Do you write everything down?
No, I don't write. Here's the thing. Hold on. It's a free shower. Blanket out here trapping, that's re-rock. I catch a body like Free Young. And the police in the wee hours. All right, I'll stop there. All right, okay. Point is,
I don't blame you because you don't want to waste it all. You don't want to waste it all before you're getting it. You want to get this going. It's like I had a buddy of mine who was trying to be a rapper. He ended up being a pro wrestler. And I remember.
Sorry, to answer your question, I don't write it down until after I record it, and then I'll write it down after I record it, and then go to a professional studio and then re-record it.
Yeah, and it's like, well, see, I remember. See, I worked in a paint shop with the guy originally, and he was trying to do hip hop at the time. Really good at it, and the guy probably had 70 books of lyrics. He just wrote basic lyrics down all the time. What came into his head, and I'm saying
that's good for spoken word. If you want to be a poet, that's excellent. If you want to be a rapper, you got to write. This is royal family sauce right here. I'm not even filming. My camera died, so you're gonna have to send me this whole episode. So
yeah, I will. I'll do that.
Appreciate it. But okay, that being said, you got to go rap the stuff you want to rap. You can't write it down. You got to write while you're rapping. When I'm writing, I'll write in the microphone. I'll say, like, instead of writing it down on paper, I'll just say it out loud in the mic, like at home. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll record it at home. I'll rap it as I'm thinking it and then edit it as I go. And then the thing is, then I do need to see it when I'm writing and when I'm rapping. So I'll write it down and then I'll take it to the studio and then just re-record. But you can't just write stuff down. What I'm trying to get to is you can't just write stuff down in a book and expect it to sound great. Because as soon as you make it sound like anything, it's going to sound different, which is a problem when you're writing it down. When you write it down the first time in your head, it sounded like something. When you go to re-record it, or when you go to record it, if you never recorded it in the first place, it's going to sound different than how you wrote it down because you can't remember. If you got 70 books of stuff, you're not going to remember what page 57 of book 39 was supposed to sound like. You get what I'm saying? So you got to record it to make it sound good if you want to make it sound good when you re-record it.
So you're producing. When you're producing, I mean, you're editing it, everything like that. Do you have a specific sound you really like? Do you have to go back? Do you have to go back quite a bit?
I got a few different sounds I like. My favorite sound would probably be where I'm contrast with the beat. If I'm in contrast, if the beat's like a very like high frequency beat where it's the focus of the beat is like a high flute type of like do type of song, that I'm gonna be down here. If the beat's very bass focused, then I'm gonna be rapping like screaming, maybe, like, you know what I mean, to contrast the beat, which almost gives kind of a lead vocalist feel to the song. I mean, you also have like I got my second favorite would be like some type of ghostly type of like I'm blending in with the beat type of vocal style. but I definitely like to stand on top of the vocals. I mean, I definitely. Let me say that again. I'm never editing this.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I definitely like my vocals to stand on top of the beat.
That's cool. And no, I'm learning a lot. I am learning a lot because places that another guy that I know, he's a big guitarist. He's a big guitarist, and he's telling me a bunch of things I would not understand. You know, he talks about how this right here is crunchy, this right here smooth. You know, like this thing, and with his guitar, and I'm like, I'm trying to understand, but like I said, no, that music was that noise you heard at halftime. I was all sports. So it's like I was all sports. So it's like I'm understanding, but it's like it is so much more. It is so much more than just the sound.
That's our job to make it like you got 3 minutes, bro, because they're worried about the game. You know what I'm saying? They're worried about whatever's happening outside. You got 3 minutes to make this this song. You got 3 minutes, bro, to make this song hit. You know what I mean? You got to make the athletes hyped up. You got to make the people in the crowd want to watch the game more. And you got to make them want to listen to your music, most importantly for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's your job to be able to grasp people from out of their seats and pay attention to you for those 3 minutes at least. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the challenge. How do you get people that are more worried about the game to listen to you for 3 minutes? Because when halftime comes on, I do want you to actually stay focused. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to just come start looking up my concert tickets and all of that. But at the same time, I want you to I want the energy of my song to overwhelm you so much that the game becomes a movie scene for you. Like the game matters now because of this song playing. Whereas before it was like, you know, we might win, we might lose. No, we have to win. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like that's what the song's supposed to do to you. And you got 3 minutes to do that to them. And that's your job. Like the quarterback has his job. The point guard has his job. Your job as the person whose job it is to make the music, the battle cry for the halftime slot is to hype people up or to make them feel however you want to make them feel as a musician. That's, you know, as a musician, we make people feel how we want to make them feel.
Okay, I've got a different question. Now, this is a different question about music. We know the whole Swifties deal with Taylor Swift. We know this whole situation, how she's got all these fans. All right. This whole situation with Taylor Swift and all that stuff, it reminds me in a way of Michael Jackson of the day. I'm just talking about, you'll see people, and then they faint, and, you know, stuff like that. The minute he turns his head, like, and stuff like, you know, all that kind of stuff. She kind of does that same, she gets that same vibe. What is it with fans? And I asked a buddy of mine today about this, and I wanted to hear from your end. What is it with fans that get that into the music where, you know, they faint? Is there a certain thing to them that it's like it's the only way they can get it out? I mean, what is it?
I think Taylor Swift, Michael Jackson, and the likes speak for those who are crying for that. Meaning, they didn't have a way to express how they felt. They didn't even have the words to express it. They didn't know what to say, that nobody was listening. But the way that they feel is being expressed by these people, and people are listening to them. So if they attach to that, then yes, my feelings are being heard. Because everything that person said is how I feel. And if you know that I'm attached to them and they said this, then my feelings are being heard. I mean, I don't know why, but I announced my album date like damn near last year, maybe in January, almost last year, maybe in January. And honestly, Taylor Swift dropped like an album or like a single or something with Ice Spice the same night my album came out. I'm like, can you not do that, Taylor Swift? Because I'm trying.
She's afraid of you.
I don't know. I almost appreciate it just as much as I'm mad at it.
She's afraid of you. You're gonna get her. You're gonna take her number one.
I would never do that. I'll be number 2 for the rest of my life if I had to. Look, I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean? It's yours, Taylor. But I think she's an impactful artist who's done the work, and I think once you do the work, nobody can take it. You ain't got to be afraid of me, Taylor Swift. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you did the work. Like, so I think once you relate to that many people in that many ways, it's impossible to take that from those people. Like, you can't. It's not even more Taylor Swift and her fans. It's about those fans and Taylor Swift. You can't take Taylor Swift from her fans at this point. If she died today, you'd have to make a whole hologram and a clone and some AI, some type of. I got a lab, by the way. I'm working on some type of invention to kind of like, which is already out, and they got skins for it, and they got the device. But I want to combine the two to where you can put someone's consciousness into like a skin AI robot type of thing. We would need that if Taylor Swift died today. You know what I mean? I don't mind announcing on your podcast again. You are the godfather of purple. So I'll tell you everything you need to know. Like, you know what I mean? I got a whole idea. I got a whole lab. I got an invention. And we're gonna need that for people like Taylor Swift because we can't just let her die. Like, we're gonna need robots and stuff with her whole mindset in it and her whole
Well, that's the thing. So you're saying it's an express, and see, people are going to laugh at me asking these questions, but I'm basically on a cram session, like you're to test in a last final or something like that on music, because that's my fault. That's my fault too. So I'm in a cram session. I'm just trying to understand, because I'm always like, when I would see the eek and all that kind of stuff from Michael Jackson and everybody that's gone to an 80,000, like you thought of Queen, Freddie Mercury and Queen, and they did the same thing to him. And you get all that, like, I try to understand, especially because there's different things that I get the expression from on that, even if it's a story, if it's something else of entertainment that gets me. But I try to understand because I don't quite understand the idea of music and where that brought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think music really lies in the hearts of people who, you know, it's like the same passion as sports. It's just a different way of expressing yourself. Like, you know, I mean, even with Queen, I mean, he was the lead singer of Queen was rejected from a whole another band before he found the guys for Queen. He was like, he had to convince them even to like actually follow him. And then he started making songs like Mama. Like, you know what I mean? That didn't come until later. Like, you get it? Like, it's one of those things where music requires being a musician is like being a football player who got hit every time, like a quarterback who got sacked every time. And you know what I mean? You was in high school and then somehow you got drafted to the league. And then, you know what? You was like, I'm never getting sacked again in my life. That's what being a musician is. It's the passion of leading. It's not necessarily like you're not playing the game. Once you finish singing a song, you might go put a helmet on and finish playing the game with everybody else. But most musicians that you know are the quarterbacks of the team. As far as mental goes, as far as passion goes, as far as spirit goes. I was a running back myself, but I was also a producer for a long time. Most musicians, like, you know, like to play quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the leader. They're the leader. And no, you know something? You bring up this expression. I got a story I like to tell on this. I've told this to his people also. Denzel exactly knows what I'm talking about here. I mean, he will know by the time I say it. I'm watching a main event of a wrestling show. We're all wrestling fans, okay? I'm watching a main event of one of our shows. It's Dusty Rhodes' kid. His name is Dusty Rhodes. His kid's Cody. Two of his kids, Cody and Dustin, were facing the bad guys in the main event. Dusty comes on now. Now, mind you, Dusty had cancer by this point. So he's lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
He's old. He looks very sickly. And he's, you know, the skin's hanging off of me because he used to be a big fat guy, you know? And he's getting that thing. So get down to the end of the match. He does his part one more time. His moves, everybody that knew him, all that kind of stuff like that, gives them his little signature, whatever, and the place explodes. There's like 21,000 people there. Place explodes, and they are chanting his name, and it's like, and it was like, and then they get the finished match over, blah, blah, blah. the end of the thing. Well, meanwhile, he did one move. The old man did one move, and he was holding his breath bad. He was so sick because he was so sick. They couldn't hardly ever get in the ring and all that kind of stuff in it. And that whole thing, that was his final little move that he did. He would die in 2015. I think it was 14 when they did it. And that was the last of his thing. And that story gave me the story they put on there, because that was real. His cancer was real. The story, of course, was a story, but his cancer was real. But that one final move gave me as an expression, because we lost our dad in 2010, and he was 82 years old, and he was the old warrior for us. You know what I mean? And all the way to the end, he pushed and pushed and pushed to keep healthy, to keep everything. He's the old warrior with one final swing inning. And that part on that was just even though it was a story, it's the old warrior with one last shot. And so I get the idea of what you say with music. There's an expression to it. What do you realize? What is it in you? What do you see? And I saw that with that thing, like you see with music.
Yeah. I think anybody can attest to this. I think all we can ask for is to inspire the next one. I mean, we only have a certain amount of time here, right? I mean, all I can ask for is to inspire the next kid that's like, you know what? I'm stuck in my circumstances, but I see a little light. I see a little light in the windowsill that if I follow that light, I might be able to get far away from the stuff that leads me to being depressed, isolated, destitute, and just hungry. And I can go be content, at least for the rest of my life. And I think, you know what I mean? That's, especially in show business and entertainment, that's all we can ask for, is because by the time you know who we are, we have made it away from those circumstances. Trust me, we're good. You get it? But the thing is, all I can ask for now is to inspire the next. And I think, you know, with that, you know, he might have had cancer and all that, but he did his job, you know.
He found it one more time. It's like
he did.
He found it one more time, and it was like, and it's like you're old, you're beat up. You hate being old, but you found that one, and then the place exploded. It's like it always did when you were 30. You always did when you were 35. You know what I mean? It's like they did it just one more. And I always look at it as the final old man.
Jake, I'm 33. I don't know what it means to be 35.
No, I know.
Don't get too far. I'm trying to make it 35.
No, I'm just talking about the old men that have one final in them. You know, and we all hope and pray we have one.
Go ahead. Can you call the dog? I'm sorry, it's a dog over here. I'm trying to get away from it.
Yeah.
When my grandpa died the week I was born, and people treat me like that. And I had to tell my mom earlier today, like, hey, I'm not your dad. And I had to realize that this whole time she's probably been psychologically confused between the two, because he died the week I was born. And there's a part of that's like, hey, maybe his spirit did try a little bit of spiritual transferring happening and whatnot. But yeah, I think
no, I get it. You're 33. I understand that part. I just understand the expression of what you talked about with music, because it can go in any other entertainment. Everybody finds theirs.
Yeah, and as an older man, I think I can't wait to be an old man that makes music. Like I make music at 33, like humbly, and I kind of tiptoe, like, hey, I don't really. I mean, now at 33, it's like, hey, I'm kind of like a sergeant. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about. I don't overstep my boundaries, but I know what I'm talking about. But I can't wait to be like that old general that's like making music, that's lived the life, that, like, you know, may have cancer, but is focused. I think me being at my core, me knowing how consistent I've been with certain goals from the time I've been a very little boy to a 33-year-old man, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure by the time I'm old, I'm telling you, my goal is gonna be to like leave a legacy, to inspire the next, to leave a path for those who didn't have one before. Obviously, if you have a path, I don't need to create a path for you, but there are a bunch of people who don't have a path to live a life that deserve it. If you don't deserve it, I'm not giving you a thing. But those who do deserve it, there's gonna be a way. and I'm gonna make sure of that, even if I have to die trying. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, I'm kind of an old man to some, but what I mean by old is what you're talking about, like 80, 90, 100, 150, whatever. Our lifespans will increase as we get, go through time.
That's true. Hey, but hey, hold on 1 second. We've got about 3 minutes. Are you there, Denzel? Let's see if we got a third time to charm. Let's see if we've got a third time here. There you are. You avoided us. You avoided us this whole time.
Man, I actually had left the room for a little bit, but I'm back here.
This guy knows his hip hop. Denzel, he is the king of this stuff. He knows it. Okay. This guy absolutely knows this stuff. What was that question you had the other night on Facebook? I was going to see if you could ask Femi. What it was about. What is your favorite, like 2000 to 2006? What was that you had on Facebook?
Oh, it was the trend of the era, like, the long white tees and the long black tees and the do-rags with the Birdman lugs and the colorful kicks and everything. And what else was going on? Like, yeah, basically it was that. Just it's different trends at different time periods. Like, you go from the 80s when it was the Kangos and the Adidas and the fat gold ropes, and then you go to the 90s. Pants are a little baggier. You got Timberland boots, like everything. And then, it goes into the 2000s. And what I'm saying, it leads into, kind of through the 2010s and today. Like, hip-hop's always been trendy, even in the fashion sense. You know what I'm saying? And there are some things that end up making a comeback and some that just kind of stay going forever. And they're just memories, just like I said like LL Cool J, he had FUBU, right? That one point in time in the early 2000s, that was like the hottest thing. Like everybody was like rocking FUBU and everything. And
okay,
like,
yeah. FUBU,
yeah. So that's all it was, Jacob.
Oh yeah, no, but I was gonna say this. It's like, and now I can be the godfather of purple.
Hey, there you go. Hey, but we do have to wrap in 1 minute.
No, we got to go. Hey, Femi. Thank you very much. This was an awesome interview. Learned a lot from you today, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
You take care of yourself and keep kicking butt. All right.
Will do.
Take care, buddy.